Hey y'all, I'm aemok.
I'm Madam Hexe.
And Kaitlyn Kayce.
And this is Trouble Comes in Three. This podcast discusses scandalous topics like communication and sexual health, along with kink, leather, and ethical non-monogamy. If you're under 18, please leave us and check out scarletteen.com. For those over 18, welcome, and let's get naughty. So, what is this week's topic?
This week's topic is specifically our polycule or constellation. Who are we? How many of us are there in our constellation?
So I actually drew this out yesterday because someone in one of my kick groups
Did you get all her bits too, though?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
Even the out-of-town
Yeah,
one?
even the out-of-town one.
Awesome.
I hate to admit this, but I put her down and then I was like, oh, and the boy!
Oh, yeah! Yes.
It took me like a hot minute because I'm like, I feel like this is not...
Did you?
But yeah.
Oh, so you did Dynamics, like Dynamics Family?
Yeah, I did like
the
the entire extension because someone had asked because I had mentioned something about like bouncing between the two households and they're like, how many of you are there? 6? I was like, well, so there's 6 in our like direct polycule that are all sort of see each other on a more weekly basis. But on the outsides, you then have another one. No, you have 2 other ones. And then you have 4 other ones.
In the beginning.
In the beginning.
There was lightness and dark.
So,
AKA my partner and I.
Hey, we can start with that, actually. A good place to start.
That's a good place
Let's
to start.
with you and your nesting partner.
Okay, so my nesting partner and I were together. We had previously been in a poly relationship where I had actually been the one entering an already existing relationship, and unfortunately after about a year and a half that kind of fell through. And so then we had a year where it was really just the 2 of us, and he's always identified as poly, and I've definitely always identified more on the monogamous side of things. And so we were in a monopoly relationship.
A monopoly.
I love it. As soon as like I wrote it, because it's monopoly, but if you put it in that order,
monopoly.
yeah,
Monopoly.
And
he had
so,
monopoly on you, but that's what it is.
I guess.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, I like that.
that's
dig
cute.
That. I dig that. All right.
But
She digs the ownership vibe. It's all right, guys.
fast
Sorry,
forward
go
to about almost 9 months ago.
Don't count. It'll hurt your head.
Yeah,
a year ago.
Almost a year ago. Yeah, no, actually a year. Oh yeah, we're in
a year
April.
ago.
Yeah, so a year ago.
Oh, did you have an anniversary?
It's coming up.
Oh, okay.
Soon. He had brought up that he had started chatting with a lovely lady that he was really interested in, and he had kind of had like an inkling for a while, but never really like was in the spot to act on it. And
Because his pursuit pace is easily referred to as glacial.
except with me, he was like all over that shit.
Because you're prey.
I mean, yeah.
That's a
fair.
different.
That's fair. And so he had like asked if I would mind if he went out and met her for drinks. So I was like, that's fine, whatever. He had gone on a few dates a little bit prior to that hadn't really gone anywhere. And so I was like, yeah, no, that's fine, go ahead. And that is how we ended up with the gorgeous aemok.
So, hilarious. I'm going to tell this from my side of the story.
Yes, I want to hear it from each of the different...
Yes.
different
So-
things. And then I have some follow-up questions for you afterwards.
So, Kaitlyn and I had been trying to get together.
I was so pissed. When I found out who it was, I was so pissed.
We had been trying to get together for a couple of months, but I had a bunch
As swishes or just like as friends? Or as colleagues? Colleagues,
Always
peers?
a little bit of mentorship because
we were both in education, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
It was more of like a colleague chat or...
So, I was interested in her, but she's mono. What's No.
At the time,
I
I identified as monogamous.
That was your boundary, so
Yes.
you,
So,
you
like,
respected
that.
Yeah, good
I
for
mean,
you.
I can totally crush on somebody, but also
over the
like,
wall.
Yeah.
You can peek over the wall.
Yeah. And so she also had competed in a competition that I ran the year before.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So there was going to be part of that was she was going to have an opportunity to work with me to kind of hone her education skills
the
and
next
things like that
year.
next year.
Because I had 2 classes coming up then.
Right, okay. So it was one part professional, one part social.
Yes.
Right.
Gotcha.
And we just get to know each other better and things
Yeah.
like that.
Right.
But different things happened. It kept getting moved because
We both forgot. Which,
one time we both
if you
forgot.
listen to our first podcast on how we all met each other,
You can hear that
we
story.
both forgot.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like it didn't end up happening. And then her partner and I had been chatting back and forth, and I had been overthinking shit for about 6 months. Going, I think he likes me, but I don't know if he actually likes me. Does he like me?
Nice, or is he
is he just
flirting?
flirting? Because I flirt with everyone, and I can't
same
tell.
goes.
That
Same.
big. So, after conferring with some female friends of mine of the situation, I asked him if he wanted to go get drinks.
Sounds
Yeah.
very familiar. Oh, it feels very
We'll
familiar.
get there.
Yeah.
I asked him for drinks.
Right.
And then he asked her if that would be all right.
Fair, as you should.
He was not the one that instigated.
No.
That was me.
Yes.
Likewise, Toots. Likewise.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the glacial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
how did you meet him originally? Did you meet him at events? Because I know like he works
So-
as like a
Security and
securities at
DM.
certain events, and since you
So-
teach, did you run across each other that way? Or
So he worked a lot of events that I teach at
Right.
or that I work at. We both worked FetCon. I was a lead for security.
Okay.
He was in the dungeon originally.
Right.
We also met each other like at FPE and different events, chatting and stuff like that. That's the same way I met her, was kind of the same thing at local events.
Right.
And then last year's at FetCon, he made a comment to me about something, and it was after all my shifts were done, and I was definitely intoxicated in the pool, relaxing for the first time in like 7
4
days.
days.
Good for you.
Oh yeah, no, security's
I go-
there extra.
Yeah, I come in extra, so it's like day 6 or 7. I'm finally like having some like
Find
relaxed time,
as it were.
He says something to me, I'm like, oh great, I can flirt with you now.
Ah, so that was like your green light.
And that was like my green light. Like, now we can flirt. But then I spent like
6 months after that.
6 months not knowing if like, is he actually flirting or is he just being nice?
Is he just being nice? Because sometimes you don't. It's hard to tell.
I can't tell.
Or
So,
if you're like us, you flirt for sport, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
so I actually didn't tell people. So because we're both very well known in the community.
Well, everyone's a gossip as well.
Yes.
Also, everyone's a gossip.
Gossip.
Also, I didn't want to like curse it because I didn't know what
That's
was
fair.
going on.
That's fair.
So I didn't actually tell my friends
That's fair.
who I was going on a date with.
Honestly, that's fair.
The only people who knew who I was going on a date with were my sir and Alpha.
That's important.
And me.
safety.
Well, and you, but you were his other
You weren't
partner.
like close friends with her yet, though. So
We had been
you
chatting
were
for a
friends
while.
with her,
Like,
yeah.
We had been
to the
chatting.
point, like, I was really upset because he was like, "Oh, can I go out and meet this
'cause
girl I've been
he stole
talking to
your
for a
date,
drink?"
basically.
And
Yes.
I was like, "Yeah." I was like, out of curiosity, who are you going with? He's like, "Oh, aemok." I was like, "You fucking bastard!" He was like, "I didn't know she was on the no list." I was like, "She's not on the no list, but I was supposed to have the date first."
I'm like,
Like, you're not fair.
but that's wholesome.
Anywho,
So yeah, I did check with Sir and Alpha. They thought any red flags or any concerns about the relationship.
Right.
Like if I had went out on a date, they were like, "No, just check in with us later." And it's like, I can do those
You're
things.
not murdered or upset
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yep. So yeah, that's how that started.
and then fast forward a few months later, maybe like 2 or 3 months, you guys were really close together in
So
starting.
we
had tea.
we technically started. He and I started in May officially.
Yeah,
It
and
was,
then
like,
you
first
were
week-
more FLFP. But
I know, because when I started having sex with him, I found out he was having a relationship with someone else as well.
Okay.
But I was like, oh, well, I really like her, so
This will work out.
perfect.
this will work out lovely.
He came to me and you guys were supposed to meet up for something, and then like I think he backed out or something got canceled or moved. But he was like, at this event, he goes, during the cigar social, we're going to meet up and we're going to have a drink. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, kind of been eyeballing her from the sidelines for a while because she is
Couldn't tell. It was just
Gorgeous.
snubbed me.
um
Never letting you live that down.
again, another story from our first episode about the wonderful misarray of how we met or didn't meet.
Anyway, so you eyeballing
And
me as
so
well.
I was eyeballing you well, and so it's like, okay. And it was at your sir's covering.
Covering, yes.
And he had told me I couldn't come because he didn't know if, like,
I'm not gonna chat him up while my dear friend is receiving his
Right.
cover.
And he was like, I don't want her to think, like, that you have to be there in order for me to talk to her. I was like, I don't think she thinks that, but it's a public covering for someone I care about.
Right? And also, I'm not chatting to you during the ceremony anyway.
Right. And so, anywho, I went and everything.
Not that he did much chatting to begin with.
We were introduced, and that's when I kind of realized, like, I feel like I've met her before, but she's really pretty. It's fine. So they had their time. Right.
No, was that before or after we met at the pub?
Before.
Before I met him at the pub?
Yes.
Okay. See, I can't keep track of this.
Yes, before, because it was the first time you guys had actually met, made an instance, let's
So I'm going to dig deep into my brain and try to figure out the timeline on all of this. I think, obviously I'd seen him at events, because I play publicly, I go to events. I never really, volunteer things. I mainly like to go, make a scene, and then leave. It's kind of
it's
what
quite
I like to
delightful.
do. I like
wonderful.
to make an appearance. I do a lot of chatting. I do a lot of heavy play, and then I get the fuck out. Usually how I go. So did that. So obviously I'd seen him. Mm-hmm. And aemok and I had met through other means. I think I was friends with I was acquainted with your sir first.
Yes.
And then as I got to know him more, obviously, I was introduced to you more.
Yeah.
And then we had tea, and I was like, you know what? She's a rope girl too. I want to be friends with this person. This human being. I would like to put in my friend basket.
Yes.
And so that's kind of, I was like, hey, rope friend. Hey, rope friend. You want to rope and have tea and these things? And so that's kind of how that conversation started. But in his case, yeah, I don't know. I think honestly, social media, they got a Facebook friend request.
He looked at me and he goes, I just got a message from Fraulein.
Because he sent me a Facebook message friend request, and I was like, do we know each other in person, in human form? I don't recall you ever actually introducing yourself.
And he read off the phone. He goes, she just sent me this and I don't know how to feel about it. And it was something along the lines of, are you ever going to actually say hi to me, or are you just going to stare at me when we cross paths?
That sounds about right. Yep.
Yes, because it's been about 2 years. I'm like, I see you looking. Are you going to say something to me? No, you're not.
No.
Okay, then I'll figure it then. So that's kind of how that cat and mouse game went, I guess. Yes, that's how that went. I guess I told him I was going to be at the event for your show's covering. And I said, if you'd like to have a chat in person, I will obviously be at the cigar social. I didn't know what my itinerary was for the rest of the event, because I wasn't staying at the hotel or anything. So I said, come to me during the cigar social and we can have a adult human conversation and see what happens. Was not a lot of talking happening.
No.
Was it because I was only in fishnets and boots?
Probably. And then also your lovely girls were
I was
getting
babysitting.
yeah.
I was babysitting.
They were 5 rum buckets in or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so you're like, as wonderful as this has been, I need to take them home and get them French fries.
I had to get the kitten in the middle because they were very deep in rum buckets.
I was introduced as, hi, these are my drunky skunkies, and we're leaving soon.
I gotta take them before they both fall in the pool. We're leaving. Yes, I do recall that actually. Yes, okay. So maybe that's why that was cut short.
Maybe.
It was I was babysitting. Yeah. We went to the bar, the one in Ybor that we always go to. And actually, when he sat down to chat with me, actually, the bouncer came over and was like, is she bothering you? I was like, no, the guitar didn't actually know him. Because I'm there all the time, so they know me. And they're like, you're never coming here with a dude. Then I was like, no, it's fine. And then one of the other blokes that's there often, he's like, I'm sorry, was that a client? Did they just interrupt you? I was like, no, this is not a client meeting. This is not No, this is a social.
Oh, what kind of vibes was he giving off?
Well, they know I'm a dominatrix. They know that, I also know I do financial advising. So who knows what kind of client they're referring to. But either way, it was one of those. It's like, no, he didn't ruin my client meeting. It's not a client meeting. This is a social call. That's really all.
Yeah. And so, and then there was the pickup game where the next time you made him come and try to pick you up at the bar.
I love that game. If you out there in the world have never played this game, play this game. Pick a partner, one you're very close with or a new partner, don't care. One of you is the target, one of you is the cruiser. You say, you can meet at the bar or restaurant or whatever. Usually a bar works best. And the cruiser has to pick up the other partner as if you don't know each other. You pretend like you don't know each other, and they have to actually play this little game of, chatting you up.
I would fail so hard.
It's a lot of fun because you get to see, especially if you didn't meet that way, you get to see how people might operate, or it's fun. It can be ridiculous
to watch Kaitlyn
play this game.
Try to be the cruiser for either of us.
I have never picked somebody up ever.
But
I've always accidentally.
But the benefit of the game, right, is you've already agreed you're going home with this person, so you literally can't lose. But it's just about seeing sometimes, because sometimes people are really good at it, and you're like, oh damn, I will go home with you, and then sometimes you're like, this is painful. Can we leave?
There was my idea when we were talking with your boy
right.
while we were there, because it was the first time I had gone to that bar.
Too.
And so the game had come up, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I guess like you could just go up and just like chug their drink and be like, oh, can I buy you another?
Right, because it's
empty.
Right, because the idea was like he was gonna come up to me and buy me a drink, and I'm like, I have a full glass. No,
and I was like, you could just drink it and then be like, oh, let me buy you another.
She's like, oh, I'll just drink this and then buy you another.
And I was like, I feel like I'd probably get smacked in the face, but it would go one of two ways. It would go wonderfully or horribly.
Yeah. So we played that game, and you're a lot of fun, darling, but you weren't very good at that game.
I don't know that he's ever picked somebody up that way either.
I think he's a little shy in person.
He is.
I think so.
It's
kind of cute. Like, it's very cute. But I'm a predator in person. I don't mean that in like in a gross way, but I mean like this is my target. I'm going to eat you. You know what I mean? Like, if I've decided this is what I'm going to do, this is what's going to happen.
Devour my soul,
I wasn't
please.
I wasn't ready for
my body is ready.
I wasn't ready for like the modesty and the shyness, and I was a bit like,
it's a
hard left shift from the messages exchange. I was like, all right, hold on now.
Yep.
I wasn't disappointed. I want to make that clear.
We had the same thing. Like, we had known each other for years, and I don't think he'd had a full-length conversation with me until the night I was in the pool at FetCon. Like, more just like, fuck, I'm off my feet and floating places.
Floating around, yeah.
Oh, thank God I'm floating. I think that was the longest conversation we had ever had with each other.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't know if he went with it because we were all exhausted and delusional, or what.
Well, if you opened that conversation, then it was probably he just fell into it.
I did not.
Oh, you didn't open it.
No, he came to me.
God, yeah. Ooh, look at you.
To inform me of a fact that I actually knew, but he was realizing. At a very like,
like you were right all along.
I think also I messaged you. I was like, I heard you're seeing him. Is he a creep?
You did. You did message me.
Well, because I trusted her.
Yeah. Not the girl who blew you off.
Right. Well, I also didn't know you as well. So I was like, what do I do? Ask her if her boyfriend's a creep? She's going to be like, no, of course not. You know, obviously.
Oh, I thought I'll tell you, like, he's a little weird, but you can have him on.
Weird I can handle with, you know. But I was like,
And we knew each other for probably about a year at this point. Because we had some other non-lifestyle stuff going on. Both of us had.
In our personal lives that matched up in terrible, tragic ways. But, you know, bonding regardless.
What was it? You know, we connected on that. We connected on kink stuff. We connected on rote.
Yeah.
So we had been developing friendship, which then morphed for like a year by the time that happened.
Yeah.
And then there was the story of how I became not so monogamish. Because for a while it was going great. Like, I mean, I say that like nothing happened. It's still going great. But for a while
it went great, but then it all went shot to shit.
Poor wording. But for a while we existed kind of in that everyone kind of had their own separate relationships with our common partner. And we would have meta dates. And for those not familiar, meta refers to metamor, which is your partner's other partner who you are not also seeing. And so it's not so much as like a triad where everyone's seeing each other or anything, but all separate relationships. And so we would have hangouts, very like kitchen table poly, like everyone would come and have dinner together. We would do movie nights. Yeah. And then things started to sort of just shift as it was so gracefully pointed out by your alpha one night on one of our meta dates, where aemok was so sweet and we shared dinner together, and I bought her a drink, she bought me dinner, and her alpha comes up and he goes, I'm going to say it. She's like, don't you dare. He's like, I'm going to say it.
He had already talked to me about this, but I was like, no, I am respecting her. I'm respecting her identity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's cool. She identifies as monogamous. I'm not going to push her to, like, be any other way.
Sure.
And he's like,
to which?
But yeah.
He comes up and he goes, so I'm just going to say it. You can hate me later if you want to. You're basically dating. Get over it.
In his fashion. When will you admit you're just dating already?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Just call it what it is, I guess.
Pretty much. Which, at that point, I was completely red-faced.
Oh, absolutely.
And I was
embarrassed
too.
and mortified.
Because this was in a public space. And he says this and then just walked off.
Bye.
Alpha was like, here's the statement. Pete, and like walked off and just
That's
left
very
us
on
there.
brand for him.
I mean, he does identify as an asshole.
Right. And I
His
adore him.
identification.
It is.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like, I mean, I adore him, but yeah, he totally identifies as an asshole.
That's fine.
And so we were just awkwardly standing and we're like, yeah, he's kind of right.
Yeah.
All right. Cult what it is then.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you, and then I think it was like later that week, you called me your girlfriend for the first time. Because I did not. I refused.
No,
I
you're
did
going to
not
have
want
to do it first.
Well, it wasn't that I didn't want to do it first, but
It's an identity thing. You were trying to respect
she's-
these boundaries.
Yeah. I think we were on cam together and it was just like, no, that's my girlfriend over in the corner. Like, we'll do stuff together, but you have to like get both of us in a private. And she was like, I'm your girlfriend.
But she's like, wait, is that just for the camera? Or is that for reals?
I was like, I think so. I was like, I think this is how that happens.
That's okay. My other
Granted,
partner.
it's also been 10 plus years since I've had a girlfriend. And so I'm like, I think
Back
so.
on
I
that
think this is
bicycle,
what we
bitch.
do. I went in
Oh, you
head
got
first.
on that bicycle.
yep, you did.
And then I don't know when we sort of.
It was
For
right
Madam
after.
Hexe
It was
and
right after.
I just allowed it. I'm like, whatever you want to call it, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's not going to change. To me, it doesn't
Right.
change the nature of
No.
the relationship. It's whatever you want to call
But
it.
then there was like.
Because you do all the things, right? So
Yeah.
you identify as ace. So as far as that goes, dating is like we're emotionally close. We do movies. We cuddle. We do all the things. You check
Yes.
box all the boxes. Yeah. If you want to call it dating, call it dating. If you call me a girlfriend, call me a girlfriend. Call me a meta, call me a meta. To me, the label is really what the person,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
brings you joy. And as long as I'm not like
And you're like, I don't know
about it, then
Oh,
So I
you're
don't
not mad.
I'm not mad. You can call me that all you want.
And then there was, I think, a few months back, you were just like, no, I was explaining that I have 3 girlfriends. I was like, 3? And
Because of the joke. Somebody
and she's
was-
like, oh yeah, my baby girl. I was like, no, I counted her. It's like, there's her and aemok, and she's like, and you.
It's like this awkward cricket pause. I'm like,
I was like, what? Oh, that's a thing?
Yeah, so that kind of realization, actually, my other partner, who I've seen probably, I'm gonna get this wrong. I swear I'm gonna get this wrong because dates and I'm gonna say in the ballpark of probably 4 years total. 4 years total in the ballpark. It's okay because he doesn't know either. No, he's not fine.
Roundabouts.
Yeah, we arbitrarily picked a date for an anniversary because we're like,
I love it.
Darts. Mainly because we wanted something easy to remember. That was one of the, we were at a bar one time and somebody asked him like, oh, how do you know her? He's like, oh, we're dating. Are we dating? Yes, we're dating. We're dating now, yes?
That was on the ride.
So that was when we'd come back together because we separated for some time because we
Right.
had some personal things to work on and, there's a lot going on in my personal life at the time. And then when those things kind of settled, we found a way back to each other. So that was kind of like the rekindling of that as a ongoing thing. And are we dating? Yes, I guess. Yes, I guess
Yeah.
so. That's like, I suppose that's where we're at. Yes. So very much flippant in that regard as well.
That we
Not-
scared.
Not that makes me flippant in my level of care for my partners, just in the whole nomenclature bit is just whatever to me. I
Yeah.
care about you as a human. I've selected this. This is. I'm
Do
carrying
you-
It's
it
one
on.
of your humans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm nurturing this relationship now. That's all I've got.
Like, not
Huh.
off topic. Do you identify as like relationship anarchist?
What does that even mean?
Like, so from my understandings, it is when somebody doesn't really like have a form or mold to relationships. Everything just sort of happens or doesn't happen at a time, and like, and so like
English is
that's
my
kind of
second
what it
language.
sounded
We're
like.
gonna have to Google this shit.
Yeah,
Hold on.
I'm not explaining it well. That's just how.
Relationship
It was,
anarchist. That sounds very racy, doesn't it?
but
I'm not adverse to traditional titles. I'm just one of those people that is kind of like.
Yeah, I don't
Whether you
know.
refer to me as a partner or a girlfriend or a meta, to me, it all that tells me is that I'm somebody you care about and someone close in your circle.
And
so
you are.
Well, thank you, darling. So whatever nomenclature you pick, to me, and maybe that's just because like linguistically in my brain it doesn't make any sense.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm
Did
not
we
the best
Google
at
that? Do we know what
explaining
that means?
My Google is having a
Oh,
moment.
fuck off.
Aw.
Damn it. All right, we'll Google it later.
It'll be in the show notes.
We have the technology.
It'll be
we're
in
gonna
the
look it
show
up.
notes.
We're gonna look it up. Oh, we found a definition.
Yes.
Okay.
So relationship anarchy is when you more or less, they're all your friends. You interact with everyone in an individual way that feels right for both of you. You don't care if anyone calls you partners or not. You just kind of roll with it.
Maybe.
Yeah, so that's like the way that I had understood it. That's what it
Okay,
sounded like to
okay.
me. just because you are very much so whatever works for them to feel fulfilled, as long as you aren't opposed to the idea that is normally associated with that verbiage.
I accept that word then. Okay, that's fine. Yes.
I kind of bounce between that identifier and solo poly, except for I just moved in with people.
Sure.
So my solo... So solo...
Do you have your own room, though?
Yeah, I do. That was a like, prime example. Yeah. I think the only person I could share a room with is Kaitlyn.
Yeah.
Oh, yay!
Or you.
Little towel's a little damp, is it, kitty?
No.
So since she has the habit of splooshing when she's around us, we make her sit on a towel. In case you needed that visual. So solo poly, tell me more about that as a definition.
So solo poly is more of, it's kind of me focused.
Right.
I have my relationships. I might be dating partners. Mm-hmm. They'll have different dynamics and things like that. Right. But at the end of the day, I don't want to move in with anyone. I don't want to like cohabitate.
I want me to be my primary.
Yeah, exactly. I am my primary. So
that speaks to me on a whole level.
I have that, but then I also, it's kind of a blend of like solo anarchist, because I really approach it that all of my relationships have autonomy, regardless of what style they are. And I don't do hierarchical where you put one partner above another. I just do, I love all my partners and I love them in different ways. I care about them in different ways. Right. No one is better or worse than anyone else in my world.
Couple privilege. We touched on that a little bit.
Yeah, couple privilege. It's that hierarchy kind of thing. But I very much... Sorry, we're watching Kaitlyn open a bottle, and I'm kind of terrified she's going to hit one of those glass lamps.
She moved my cat. He was sitting on that cloth.
Odin loves me. So your cat loves me, and as a kitty, I have the privilege to touch him and be like,
I saw him shake his back foot at you. It's fine.
But so I also very much... So I identify very much with the anarchist,
Do you know how to bring it over here?
Doing whatever. But at the same time, I still very much need, like, my own space and my own, like, little universe. So, I would not have moved in with people had I not been able to have my own room. Yeah. That would have been a thing. Absolutely. I have to have that personal space. And I try to, like, my finances are not intertwined with people. No. Nothing like that. So I kind of still have some solo matters, but at the same time, like, I also have, like, anarchy stuff.
Sure.
And so you had talked about hierarchical, and so going back to kind of like the first kind of exposure to poly with our current partner was, it wasn't put out as a hierarchical relationship, but it's something that made me feel better knowing that, and I think it made her feel better too, the way I referred to it, because she had not issues per se, but she had a lot of hesitations about it, even though she also identified as poly.
Oh, that was my next question. Was
she knew. I not forced. I mandated that I had to talk to her before we played for the first time, because I had gone through a lot of bad experiences of the partners not knowing, that's fair. People lying.
That's a boundary. I think, especially when things are new. Yeah. I'm usually I like to say I take people at their word. But.
And so we kind of exist in that state of where I always referred to her as his primary partner, his nesting partner. Right. And I always kind of referred to myself as a secondary partner. I was kind of the one being brought in.
But you did that to you. You didn't.
I did it to myself. She didn't
put that on you.
She didn't put that on us. She did have a little bit of couples privilege in there.
Right. A personal question?
Yes.
Were they having issues before you came? Do you know? Okay. So that's part of why I think.
So, yes, absolutely. And so, like, poly will not solve your relationship issues.
You got problems, period.
Yeah. More often, it just expands them.
Just like having a baby won't fix your problems.
Yes.
Stop doing that.
And so, but it was kind of an awkward place because I was dating him, but I wasn't dating her. Okay. And then,
were you friends with her or not so much?
I was pretty friendly with her. I hadn't known her prior to meeting him, but I feel like our friendship developed organically. We enjoyed the same things. We spent a lot of time together. We spent a lot of time without him together.
That's good.
And so I don't know if she saw it the same way or if she felt like she had to. I hope she didn't feel like she had to. I tried to make it known, like, if you don't want to spend time around me when he's not home, like, just let me know and I'll go do something. Or, like, I just won't come over on the weekends.
Were you all cohabitating or no?
No,
Okay.
I lived about an hour and a half away. So
you live far.
So I was living,
Okay. All right.
about an hour and a half away from them. And so when I came over, I would generally come over for the whole weekend.
Well, yeah, fuck.
And so,
distance, yeah.
as we got further into the relationship, it was fine. And it actually came to fruition of she had to move back to take care of a family member who was ill. And she had actually brought up the idea of me cohabitating with him. I was at a place where the place I was staying with my family was being threatened for being involved with him when he had another girlfriend.
Gotcha.
And so she was like, I think it would be really beneficial for
so
both of you.
You just kind of take her spot then in the household.
It wasn't something I was necessarily wanting to do or trying in hopes
it was
of
still
doing.
early on in the relationship.
Yeah, we were about a year and some change in at the time. And so, but it was kind of more out of necessity
right.
that it kind of happened. There's a space. She's like, I think you should fill this space. At that point, we already had a DS going. And so she's like, I think it would be good for you to do it. She goes, I'm giving it my blessing. If he wants to do it and you want to do it, go ahead.
That's nice of it.
And so I kind of filled in. And then about 6 months later, unfortunately, under the realization that he could not move to where she needed him to move and she could not come back to him, the decision was made to dissolve the relationship.
Okay.
But then I kind of realized I didn't like the hierarchical. It's like, I don't want to be that person where someone feels like they're just the person coming in and then that they need to put themselves second instead of...
I always feel... Just because I may have multiple relationships, nobody I involve myself with I consider disposable, period. And I think a lot of people that are coming to it kind of for first time, or they're coming into something, I'll use my baby girl as an example, coming into something that already has things going on, they sometimes feel they're not as important. They feel like they're extra, they're a side piece, they're disposable. And so I make great pains to remind them and show them, anyone that I'm involved with, that you're a choice that I'm choosing every day to continue to choose. And that seems like redundant to say.
This conversation feels very, very
it's not, you're not disposable. Yes, yeah. I could go to another boyfriend or girlfriend or something for something else if I needed, whatever, I don't care. Like, I like the way they cook rice better. I don't know, but that doesn't mean that this person no longer has value to me.
So my certain alpha, I had prior to being with my certain alpha, I'd had a number of polyamorous relationships that involved sex with some partners or didn't or whatever, and they had not been great experiences.
Right. We touched a little bit.
Yeah. The first one, we didn't know what we were doing and we didn't have support or language, and so that just failed miserably because we didn't know what the hell we were doing. And then I had two. One was a DS hierarchy, polyamory, and one was a kitchen table non-ish. I was the sidecar to a quad.
Okay.
So they had a relationship and I was an addition to the relationship for some of the partners.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And in that relationship, there were children being raised in the household.
Okay. I'm not comfortable with children.
So children were not involved in anything other than
I'm
they
sure.
had like...
I mean, in general...
You just don't like children.
They're fine over there. I just don't want to have to be involved with them. I think children are fantastic over there.
You don't want to raise them.
No. I would be a terrible parent.
I love helping raise children.
So that's good for you.
This is why I'm auntie aemok to a lot.
Oh, I can't wait to be an auntie. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's the auntie thing
over there.
But I don't want to be like involved in the actual household.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. I would assist with baths, dinner time. There were 3 children. Okay. We had 2 houses across the street from each other. There were 2 in one house and one in my house. Gotcha. But the kids were all raised together.
Right.
We all spent all the time together. And there were some issues with both of those. Sure. Particularly the hierarchical one that involved DS. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of manipulation and a lot of, even though I was the alpha S-type.
Quote.
Yeah, I was the alpha S-type, but there was a lot of manipulation, both from potential other partners that joined in or from the dominant who was involved. It left a bitter taste. There was something...
And combining poly and DS is definitely an interesting dance.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. And then, like...
Ooh, write that down. We should make that a whole episode.
Okay.
DS and poly.
Yes. But so particularly those last two relationships left a really nasty taste in my mouth. Mm-hmm. Both for kitchen table, mm-hmm. which is the idea of, like, everybody being able to come mm-hmm. together at the kitchen table and have a voice and have a vote in the family and right. meals and stuff like that.
Right.
You don't have to live together to be kitchen table.
Sure.
But, and it really, I had never really liked hierarchical in general. Mm-hmm. Even though I love, like, the hierarchy of DS relationships, it always kind of...
flavor, though.
It was a little weird for me in the
vanilla side. I say vanilla. The gregarious side.
Yeah.
The gregarious side.
Yeah, the non-DS specific, or even, the DS poly, because they were in a DS as well, mm-hmm. That just kind of made me not want to do any of those things. Right. And so I kind of... That's really when I started identifying more as solo poly.
Like, I was gonna say, that's where that came in.
Kind of because, I want to have relationships with people. I want to be, connected. But I also have to know myself and know what I need. I am more of an introvert than people expect. So I need that time.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
We're all introverts or ambiverts on the introvert side of it.
Yes.
So my relationship with the guys, which is non-sexual,
right.
but very emotionally and mentally intimate, mm-hmm. And DS, that was really my first time being back in a hierarchical situation. Mm-hmm. Even though it's leather, it's the...
It fed you, in a way.
Oh, it feeds me deeply. Mm-hmm.
I always get tears when I think about your
yes.
family because I have such love and respect
Same.
for them. I know, I feel like this ridiculous little fan, and I'm always like...
I feel that way about both of y'all's relationships.
They adore you and yours as well.
I have such respect for them and such love, and they've always been so kind and I see the way they interact with you, and I know you were like a new thing for them. A girl.
I was. Well, yeah, a girl and an S-type.
Yeah, you know what
they
I mean?
had never had an S-type.
You were just
before.
this. They had. I think at the beginning they're like, "What do we do with it?" But like, we'll keep it, and then it just kind of like it became this beautiful thing, and you had your
another year
renewal process.
Yeah,
I cried so hard in the best way possible.
I was like, "Oh my god, my
Thanks,
heart!"
y'all.
I was like, "That's what she needed." She
yes,
needed
it did.
So
I did.
I hate to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just had to share all my love and devotion.
And that is what we call compersion.
Compersion, yes. We did win over that vocabulary lesson, yes.
So they were the first people that I have been with in a long time that I've had any kind of hierarchical situation. And then we had a boy come into our lives.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I was really, really, really fucking nervous. Because... I am a queer girl. Mm-hmm. My Sir and Alpha are a married male gay couple. And this new person was a dude.
He's a gay boy.
He's a gay boy. And
now that you've said it out loud, I would feel a bit like, oh, is he going to replace me?
Oh, no!
Right
so
ahead.
I really, really struggled for a while with the fact that, like, I really liked this kid. He's adorable. He's sweet. He's green
Get
as
out
anything.
Of my fucking yard. A little bit. She's like, no, I like him.
I like him. I like him.
Oh, I love him.
I was also dealing with I was dealing with some severe depression stuff at the same time, which wasn't making anything better. No. And the way that when I finally opened up to Sir about it, he put it in a really, really fantastic way, which I did not accept the first couple of times he said it.
First couple of times.
Well, yeah, no.
It's a little hard sometimes.
I am questionably suspicious. Also, depression.
Right, sure, okay.
And also I'm borderline personality disorder.
Right.
So that makes me not able to, like, accept things sometimes. And so he said it really good. That the boy was not, it's not substitute, it's supplement.
Yes. Yes.
Like,
yes.
my role within the family.
To that, shall we cheers?
Yes.
Cheers
Bravo,
to that.
sir, bravo.
Yeah. My sir knows words good.
Somebody has to.
Um,
Do you want a mug?
No,
So I have a question. So your Sir and Alpha are your first hierarchical poly since that. Are we your first kitchen table poly since that went down too?
So I have been with Sir and Alpha for, I believe this is 5 years.
Ooh, yay, my heart.
I think we just hit half a decade.
Yay!
Oh my heart.
Because I think this was our.
It was right before
Fourth
I came into
contact.
the community, so yeah.
Yeah, so it's 5 years with the guys, and they are amazing. Like, I will tear up if I try to tell you how awesome they are.
No,
'Cause that's
we
what
will too.
we will all
We'll all
cry.
cry.
Just a bunch of sissy fangirls crying about it.
I did not, in the 5 years that we were together, well, the 4 years, because this is 5. In the 4 years that I was with the guys, I have not pursued one relationship in 5 years. Like, there wasn't anybody I was interested in. There wasn't any dynamic that, like, non-DS dynamic, because I, by no stretch of imagination, want to leave my
No.
guys. They're
Dynamic
amazing.
with a little d.
Yes.
Little d's.
Relationship dynamic.
Yeah, relationship with somebody. So, yeah. Y'all are, like, my first partners.
So
in
privileged.
kitchen time.
Right? I was like, I feel so special. And
Adjust my crown here.
so, ladies, I just, like, came to the realization that we're all coming up on almost a year together.
Yeah.
Oh, shall we have another toast then? Another toast.
Like,
Happy
it's
anniversary,
very...
darling.
Happy anniversary!
I moved the whole table.
With
Yeah.
joy.
Yeah,
with
no, we're...
No, fuck off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like, so...
Yeah, good for us.
Flown by.
Damn. We've done so much together as well. So fun.
We really have.
That's what I like about our polycule.
Is everyone interacts so easily.
I know we're getting the boys to start to talk to each other a little bit, but
Yeah.
us.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
specifically the three of us. Like, we've gone on trips together. We've gone to New York.
Yeah, we had a whole week vacation together.
Yeah, we've gone
and came back, and everything was still a-okay. There wasn't like some big falling out.
Yeah,
That,
and
Yeah.
you know, and we go to lunches and tea. We've had lots of new experiences with one another and
Yes.
things like that.
So
and
your cherry tree is very, very fruitful.
water that shit.
I got one last week.
Yes, we do.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. She's like, her brain's still fried.
Yeah.
You
She
know.
does not remember half of last week.
Good.
It's great.
Good. She slept like a baby. It's fine. You know, so I think I've not been in situations where I've had multiple relationships and everybody gets along well enough that you could
Same.
like, aside from the occasional hangout, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Typically speaking, I compartmentalize and keep everything separate. And to be honest, that shit is exhausting.
Oh, yeah.
And after the last round of that, I refused. I was like, I am not going to do this anymore. I can't juggle my life so hard to keep everybody.
No.
They all know about each
And
other,
you
but they want
shouldn't
nothing to do
have
with
to.
each other. And so
Yeah.
there's like this weird kind of like resentment. No, it's exhausting. Don't do that. Don't put yourself through that. It's terrible. I'm done with it. And so it's been really, really nice for me, for example, that we can sit down and have these chats and we can see movies together and we can drink champagne and we can go on adventures
Or,
and
like,
then, you know, we can
even-
talk about like with our shared partner, like if, you know, I want to hear about Aemok's adventures with him. I want to hear about what she did to wreck his ass. Like,
And-
I want to hear about this shit because I'm a pervert, but also
And
'cause I
that's-
care.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
that's
know,
also
like,
something
it's
really
great.
new to me that like
it's hard to
it's going to
explain.
sound so it's going to sound really, really bad when I say it.
Say it out loud.
But
Say it wrong first and we
say
can
it
fix
wrong
it.
first and we'll fix it.
Tell the boy all the
That's
time. Say
kind
it
of
wrong
like
and we fix it.
That's kind of how like I knew that I could like do this is when you both started like kind of sort of like hinting at like talking about your sexual encounters with my partner, and I didn't freak out. I was like, oh, this might actually be something that's going to last.
Big hurdle.
It's a big hurdle. Because beforehand, like I knew because I identify as asexual, I don't have a lot of sex with him.
Right.
Like, we do have sex. It's not completely off the table, but I don't have a lot of sex. Yeah. And I feel guilty when I hear about other people having sex with him. I'm not mad because I want him. That's a need he has. Go fulfill it. But
do you feel
I would get
a little
uncomfortable.
Bit guilty because you didn't do it? Is that
a little bit, especially
okay.
because at the time I was his S-type.
Right.
And so that was a little bit like, oh, but I should be providing that. But
now that
now I'm like, ooh, tell me more. What did you do to him?
You did what?
He did what to you? I'm going to smack him.
So do we want to touch a little bit on evolution of relationships since you brought that up a little bit?
Yeah.
So when you started seeing our shared partner,
yes.
it was partner and you had a dynamic. He was your sir, you were his girl, submissive kind of relationship.
So after about 6 or 7 months of like a dating back and forth, I presented him with my letter of consideration from the very start of our relationship.
Do you quickly want to give us what is that?
Letter of consideration is something that is used, from my knowledge, for more traditional like leather path of being accepted into like a leather family or having. It's basically like petitioning for why it's a petition as to why they should consider taking you on as their S-type.
Here's what I can do. Here's what my experience is. Here was what I want out of it.
What I'm willing to do. What I absolutely cannot do for you. I include health issues.
It's important. Okay.
Stuff like that. And so we got to a point where I presented him with that, and he accepted it. So I got the job.
Woohoo! Let's go back.
Yes. And so we had entered.
Oh no, sploosh. Stay focused. Focus.
Sorry. And then so we entered talking to each other, knowing that was something that we wanted.
Right.
And so after a few months of getting to know each other, we entered a DS relationship, and we had a DS for about 2 years of our almost 3-year relationship.
Okay. So most of
our relationship, was dynamic based.
What changed?
People grow. Mm-hmm. People grow together. People grow individually, and sometimes people grow apart in certain needs that they have. Mm-hmm. I am a very, very, very submissive person to where I thrive in almost like a master-slave dynamic.
You like intense structure.
I like intense structure, intense consistency. Mm-hmm. I like routine. I don't like things changing.
Ritual.
I like ritual. He is a very
ritual too, aren't we? It's alright, we're all a fan of ritual.
And so he is kind of the opposite.
Now I'm distracted.
He gets very bored of the same things daily. He's more casual. His wants and needs change daily. And so it was very hard for us to kind of mesh on having a set structure when we set the structure, I do the structure, but his wants and needs have changed since we set it. And so then he feels like and then he feels like the bad guy because that's not what he wants anymore.
Right.
And so we tried for
it was causing tension.
Yeah, so we tried for almost a year of knowing like this was something we didn't really mesh on, but we wanted to try to make it work so bad.
Because you do when you care, you want to work through it. You try to make plans let's try this, maybe incrementally ramp up to things.
Yeah. And so but after, a year of trying, it got to the point where we were both kind of starting to resent each other for our own individual reasons because we were both upset with ourselves because he felt like he was failing and I felt like I was failing. Right. But we weren't having that case. And we weren't having that like monumental conversation that we really needed to have about why is this failing so hard?
These are the symptoms, what's the root? What's the real problem?
And so we came to the understanding of we both have grown throughout our relationship and we haven't grown in a way that works for us to be in a dynamic anymore. What I want and need so badly is not something that he can give me without completely destroying his own mental health because it is a lot of work. It's so much work what I want out of a partner, and I acknowledge that.
And you guys cohabitate. I know my sir and Alpha do a ton for me, and I live an hour away.
Yeah.
Y'all we're cohabitating even before this recent transition.
Yeah, it changes things cohabitating because also
it does.
Yeah, from especially an MS dynamic where my boy lives with me, I get so lazy. So I have to find ways to be like, no. this is what we wanted. This is what we have to do, and have to re-energize myself and small things. You know, like every morning he makes tea or coffee. His ritual is making tea or coffee.
Yes.
The decision is, ma'am, would you like tea or coffee?
Yes.
So, would you like tea? I'd like tea. Black or green. Period. Those are the options. He makes the tea. You know what I mean? So he still has the same ritualistic structure every morning. He knows that's what he's going to do. But I have the opportunity for flexibility on, I want tea, coffee, whatever.
Exactly.
Or sometimes I say, I think I'll have tea later. And that's fine too. And then he can just make his own cup, and then he can go about because he works. So he can go about his work and things like that. So it is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, especially with how we got kind of thrown into cohabitating together.
Right, as you mentioned.
I don't regret it. I don't regret it because it's gotten us to where we are now. But it was not the most ideal situation to move in with a partner of such new space.
So the moving in situation.
Yes.
We had been talking about different options.
Yeah.
Jay and I had started discussing possibly moving in together.
Right.
Because I needed to get out of my apartment for health reasons.
Yes.
There were mushrooms growing the wall. It was crazy.
It really was.
Shit management. Anyway.
Yes.
Alice in Wonderland shit right there.
They were not good mushrooms.
No. Not fun mushrooms.
No. And he was looking to get into like a real place because he was just renting a room,
and he wanted, he's a grown ass man. He wanted to have a space.
So he and I started talking, and then we knew that Kaitlyn and her partner were also moving in like May.
So a few months from that
So
conversation.
we were moving in like February, March. They were moving in May, and we're like, hey, do we want to do this? We talked about it. We decided, this could be good.
Right.
Yeah.
Went through a couple of headaches. Found a really great house.
Rental.
Third time was the
amazing.
charm.
Nice rental home.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
I'm so happy that other places didn't work out because it's so much more suited for what all of us want and need.
Yeah. So we have a wonderful space. There are 3 predominant bedrooms. So Jay and myself have our own.
And
Kaitlyn and her partner have one.
Yep.
But we have a lot of space in the house.
And outside of the house.
And outside of the house. Oh, the lanai is
Oh,
amazing.
I love it. I could live out there. And then there's a space that we can actually turn into. It's currently housing my pole for pole dancing, and it's going to house the dungeon furniture. And then there's a space for our other partner for crafting. And then there's like a storage shed. So there's no overcrowding.
Yeah. Not overcrowded at all, which is lovely. Jay and I moved in March. And then
COVID-19 happened.
You and your partner weren't supposed to move until May, but then COVID-19 happened. And
at the time of this recording, we're still on lockdown.
we are still on lockdown. And I am immunocompromised, so I have to be extra vigilant in things. I have to be really careful if I go out or anything like that because... while I'm not super duper immunocompromised, I am enough that if I'm more susceptible to getting it, and if I get it, it's going to be really, really fucking complicated.
Right.
Yay, chronic illness. And genetic mutations. So we kind of, the whole polycule talked and decided to offer to Kaitlyn and her partner, if they wanted to come stay sooner, they could.
Which I'm forever thankful for because our partner and I were in a 1-bedroom apartment in a not so great part of town. And so being stuck in quarantine with your partner in basically a 400 square foot block is a lot.
They were fucking far from their support system because the rest of us...
They were an hour.
Side of a
they were
bridge.
like about 45 minutes away from us.
So better to be locked down with people, the devil you know, as opposed to the one you don't.
Yes. That and the new house is great because we are only 5 minutes up the road from Madame Hexe and her boy.
That's true.
Yeah. And so the other thing was that both your county and my county were going into stay-at-home orders.
Yes.
So there was going to be the potential that
they might get stuck.
They were going to get stuck over there.
I work in the county that Madame Hexe and aemok were living in. I lived in a separate county, and so then it also posed the threat to me of, okay, so our county shut down first, but what happens when this county shuts down too?
Yeah.
So we made the decision, and y'all moved over 2.5 months earlier than expected. So that is the part of moving in together that was not planned and kind of
a little stressful. It was very stressful.
Oh, it was stressful as hell.
That's because there's a fucking pandemic going.
Yes,
right.
That's nothing really to do with this. It's like I was like, oh, cool, the end of the world is here. That's fine.
It has been so much help because of the support system that we have in our Qule.
Yeah,
and so that's why I say like there's kind of like the 6 base of like that we're all regularly, weekly, sometimes daily, intertwined with each other. And then we kind of move off into kind of the outer parts that we see a little less frequently, but still love greatly with everything in our hearts.
Right. That's true.
And it helps because we can be really mindful about who we're coming into contact with.
Yes.
Because, you know, if we come in, not just me, but like the whole Qule, if one of us gets it, the likelihood is that it's going to spread through the whole Qule.
Absolutely.
And out into like leather family and stuff like that.
Exactly. So precautions are of the utmost importance.
Yeah. Currently, I'm one of the highest risks to our Qule because I am still having to go to work semi-periodically.
At your office.
Yes, but we do take precautions because I deeply care about my girlfriend. And so I'm like, hey, I have to notarize stuff, but I'm going to sit on top of my cuticle and watch you from a 6-foot distance.
I stay over there. That's fair. Because the rest of us, I think, our shared partner, his shop is closed, so he's not working.
He's not working. He is going out and doing some volunteer work.
That's
all right.
But he's volunteering with super high risk people.
So chances are they're taking good precautions as well.
No. He's volunteering with like homeless populations.
Oh,
so they don't have the reason.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And so while I totally support that, I've asked him to make sure
distance himself a bit.
To please use protective gear. Let me know he's at an event. That way when he gets back, I can go to my room. He can go decontaminate in the second bathroom.
No, that's safer. Yeah, no, for sure. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. So he is having some contact, but he's being mindful. We've talked about how
he can
could
best help you.
Protect the whole polycule.
Yes.
And then me, you, and Jay all work remote.
Yes.
You
am half remote.
My boy's working remote right now.
I was supposed to be remote, but they changed it.
That's all right.
Yeah.
You have like 4 people in your office. I'm not too worried.
So we keep it limited, and we have always had this giant bottle of hand sanitizer that has come into great use lately.
My plan is just to pickle myself from the inside with booze.
Same. I feel like we're doing a great job with that and should continue.
Yes.
Cheers to that.
Yes. Support your local liquor store.
Yes.
And tip a bartender, you bastard.
Right. I will absolutely say that I am so happy that my move happened when it did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
too much stress.
Well, the too much stress, but also being locked in.
Oh no.
My tiny
full of mushrooms.
Yes. Yeah. Full of mushrooms. My tiny 600 square
Even
foot
if you
apartment.
didn't have your mushrooms, I wouldn't want you there by yourself.
No.
I don't think my mental health would have been great.
No, I would
being
have
by
insisted.
myself with
I would
the
have
dogs
insisted. I don't care, a mattress or not. I would have insisted you come here, Lisa, because there's no way I would have left you there.
No.
Mushrooms be damned. Not happening. Unacceptable.
But having the polycule during this really fucking stressful, chaotic, honestly scary pandemic has been great because I have had people that I can connect with that I can see daily.
Right.
Or every couple of days,
Yeah.
and check in and have reality checks and have other people like, hey,
am I overreacting?
Yeah.
Am I overthinking this?
Did you eat today?
Yes.
Did you
How
eat
much
today?
water did you
Yes.
have?
Aemok and I have been great about that because she'll pop by.
They're both so naughty.
We've been doing very well
I believe
lately.
you. She's shaking her head at me.
I've not.
I
There's
haven't,
water
because I
and
started
champagne.
working in the office again. I
You
feel
can't
bad.
hold her. It's fine.
I should,
I need
no,
to
I
text
should
Sam
probably
what embarrassed you.
It's just because I'm naughty.
But
I have a Fitbit now, and I'm
do.
tracking my food.
You
properly.
do. We'll be friends
And
on
so-
Fitbit, so I can watch you as well.
yes.
But I think what the punchline here is that when you develop a polycule, a healthy polycule, a functioning polycule, it is a family. And that doesn't make it sound a bit incestuous, I know, but
it is.
a family is a tribe. Use that word if you prefer, because then whatever.
You're my people.
Congregation,
You
if you
have
feel
to necessarily be having a sexual relationship or even a romantic relationship with these people. These are just some of these people in your polycule or your constellation are just going to be very intimate friends, people that you care about deeply,
people that'll drop everything when you need help.
That's how you're going to know that these people are your people. And I think that's important. And I think that gets lost sometimes. I think, at least I think from the outside, from the monogamous world, people just assume, oh, you're just fucking everyone in your circle. Think what you like.
I'm not fucking the majority of my circle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm a perverted, horny.
And she's like, I'm a voracious cow, so shut up.
Right?
You know, and but that's the thing, right? And it doesn't detract or add value whether you are or are not sexual with the people in your circle. It's that you care for these people and they care about you. Yes. And I think that's a punchline in any relationship, and it does get lost, I think, a lot.
It does.
And it's not always like...
And it ain't always pretty.
No. Right. It's not always pretty. It's not always unicorn shitting glitter everywhere.
No.
Though I love shitting glitter, y'all.
Right.
Yeah. But it's the people who are willing to put in the work when the work needs to be done to continue on.
We have our problems too. We have them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Kaitlyn was very honest here this evening and shared that, you know, she's going through some transitions with who she is and who our shared partner is. You know, people are always going to grow.
Yes.
And we can't be afraid of that.
No.
Our preferences are going to change. Our identities are going to change. And we have to be okay with allowing that to happen.
Trying to deny it.
Find yourself a friend. Find yourself a mentor who can be a soundboard for you. That you can talk through these feelings and these emotions with. Because sometimes it's scary to share that with the people you care about the most. Yes. Not because you're afraid of what they'll think, but because you're afraid of what you might realize about yourself. Yeah. So sometimes finding that neutral third party is the best thing that you can do for yourself.
Yeah. That, and if you don't address, the sooner you address it, the less resentment that's going to form.
Please tackle problems head on.
Yes, because like
pop that pimple, get in there,
just do it.
Yeah. And it's important to, like, as you're developing your relationships and your polycule,
to keep checking in,
to check it a lot, to find out how different people communicate.
Yes.
Personally, if I'm really fucking stressed out, I need to write it down.
Sure. Yes.
And for other people, that can come off as callous, but for me, it's the clearest way. Now, if you need me to read it to you,
I'll read it.
I'll do that, but I have to write it down first.
Yes. Some people take small increments. I was talking to my partner Jay about it. He's like, your friends, I guess, whatever. You know, and he's definitely one of those, no, if we both pass out having this discussion because we're tired, we're going to finish this discussion. You know what I mean? So, but that's not how everybody is. Yep. So you have to definitely know. Yeah. And those are conversations I think we had, at least we did, the three of us.
Yeah.
Touched on, you know, what do you like when you're angry?
Yeah.
I'm not judging you.
What do I need to do? Like, what will best serve the situation if you get to this point?
Right.
And it's okay to have a pause button.
Sure. Yes.
But not a stop button.
No.
You need to be able to...
You gotta breathe.
People get overwhelmed. They start, hitting that wall of deflecting. Or they lose track.
There's the point it's no longer productive.
Right. You should pause it before it hits that point.
Totally agree.
Which comes with practice.
Yes.
But the pause button means that you and the other people are going to come back to it later on.
Intend to press play later,
Yeah. And that's really, really important.
Yeah. So... keep your heads up, loves. There's always going to be a struggle. All of you out there listening, perhaps. I don't know. All three of you.
3,000 of you.
Oh, 3,000, yeah.
This episode, 3,000.
It's never going to be easy all the time. If it is it worth having? You know, I think when you have relationships or situations that you never fight or you never had issue, you've scratched the surface. Dig deep. Hit a nerve. I want to hit a nerve because I want to know who you are and where we're at. And I think that's really important. And I think it's really great when it works out with people that are able to share all those experiences and move forward together as a unit.
Yes.
You might all be on slightly different tracks, but we're moving generally the same direction, and that's important also, is that everybody's kind of on the same
page.
boat.
Yeah. Of
we
what
can be on
you
different
want
decks,
in the future.
but let's be on the same fucking boat.
Yeah.
My final thought on the thing is there is a saying, I don't know where it comes from, but it is very, very popular in the poly realm, in the poly community, which is a season, a reason, or a lifetime.
Yes.
And it's the concept that people come into your life for many different reasons.
Yeah.
They might come into your life for a specific reason, something that's going on right now.
Right.
They might come in for a season of your life, or they might be lifelong.
Right.
Yeah.
Neither of those three are better than any of the others.
No.
And you can honor a relationship, even if it's not one like till death do you part.
Right.
It can still be an amazing relationship along the way.
Yeah.
And you should honor it, you know, each in its time, I think. And I think that's a lot of that comes from remnants from social conditioning for monogamy.
Yes.
Is that if it's not forever, what's the point? Or it wasn't good for me, or it was a waste of time. It wasn't a waste of time.
You enjoyed some of that time.
You enjoyed some, and if not, you learned something.
Yes.
So both situations benefit you in the long run, and I think that's a very important. That's very good. Yeah.
I like
Oh
it.
my gosh, ladies, we touched on a lot tonight. Good for
We
us.
did.
Good for us. Good for us. Soft and fluffy, deep and serious. I like that. Good for us.
I like
So
it. Lots of giggles.
absolutely,
Oh, God.
always the bubbles. And remember,
Trouble comes in three.
and get fucked.
Tink.